And hurt people hurt other people.
Yes, for sure.
Sometimes even unintentionally, but it happens. Comparison is something that we can't run away from, but you have to ask yourself, is this comparison teaching me or torturing me? So mtoto amekuja, hujui mtoto amebadilika. Ujui, sometimes mtoto hata anaweza kaa na ameumizwa for like a week. The mom does not know. And sometimes showing up is like through kindness.
Yes.
Imagine sometimes unaweza make someone's day by just complimenting how they look. You're hard until you're not.
All right.
Hata kama watu wengine ama the world is responsible 90% for your struggles or your suffering or the state of mind that you're in that is not the best. What is your 10%? But even your emotions matter. You matter, and you should be able to be in spaces that allow you to exist in a way that shows that you matter, even as a man. Well, I lost my mom very early on.
Okay.
I think that just explains everything.
Yes, okay.
When a child,
sorry about that. How old are you?
Okay, 8.
Welcome to the Time Lapse, the show where we pause, rewind, and zoom in on the moments that matter. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here hanging out with us. And for that, tunasema asante sana. And in conversation with me today is Angie Ngendo Wambui, practicing counseling psychologist. She has her entire rap sheet, but I'll let her, give us the details. So, Angie, karibu Time Lapse.
Tutaanza na jina.
Yes.
It's Tunu. The official name. Angie is for social media, but my official name is Tunu Ngendo.
No kidding.
Wangoi, not Wamboi. But I know they can be confusing, so it's okay.
No kidding.
Yeah, fun fact. People would think Tunu is like the nickname.
Yes.
Yeah, it's my name.
Unaribu script bana. Unaribu. Kwa sababu Tunu nilikuwa nimeiacha kwa majina zako kwa sababu I knew it's just
imagine
like,
it's the name on my ID, but even people I grew up with sometimes think Tunu is a nickname. I think it sounds like it's not a common name. Yeah, so fun fact, Tunu is a Swahili name.
All right.
Kutunukiwa. So Tunu.
Beautiful.
So it means zawadi.
I love people who are actually appreciating Swahili names, African names.
Yeah. So Tunu Ngendo Wangoi is my name.
I didn't see anywhere on your socials Wamboi.
Wangoi.
Yeah, ama ina pronounce Wangoi. Like, I don't know.
No, it's not on my. It's just. What's my social? Tunu Angie. And then there's Tunu Speaks Wellness.
No,
so unless you go deeper into like my posters or like my
posters,
profile
one of the posters,
where you get Wangoi.
Yes.
Or like when you send me some M-Pesa, you might just need to confirm.
Okay.
Ukitaka kuhakikisha, tuma kitu.
Nitume kakiru.
Taona the actual
your full government.
My government name.
Yes, I love me some government names. If you've been watching our episodes,
the government knows me as Tunu.
And here I thought it was a nickname.
So Angie, I had to choose between Angie and Tunu. And since Tunu was sentimental in the sense that that's the name my mom gave me, there are so many people who are trying to name me.
Okay.
Me, I'm a community child.
Very good.
But so I picked the one that my mom now gave me, which is Tunu.
All right.
And now Angie, even though I grew up with it, it's not like... I use it now for socials because it's still my name, just not my official government name.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So, psychology and not just psychology, counseling psychology. What does it take for someone to become a counseling psychologist? What level of education do you need? Would you need to have like a PhD or just a degree? Man, give us a little bit about what it takes to become you. To be of that kind of practice.
I am currently. I could go up to PhD level.
Yes.
But I haven't yet.
All right.
I have a degree.
All right.
Bachelor of Science in Counseling Psychology.
All right.
From Moi University.
So it's a science.
Yeah, Moi calls it Bachelor of Science, so
Right.
it's a science. But I know other universities call it Bachelor of Arts. So
Yeah, I mean, getting into the inner workings of someone's buruwe, na?
it is a science.
Should be a
Mimi
science.
daktari, usicheze na mimi.
So, daktari, I'll probably henceforth refer to you as daktari.
I worked at a hospital and I got that name, you know.
Yes, yes.
I wanted to be hizo childhood dreams, the ones before you know the reality.
Yes, yes.
I kept saying, nataka kwa daktari,
Yeah.
nini. So I got close, I think, because I worked at a hospital, and
Yes.
the moment you wear that white lab
White
coat,
robe, yes.
they don't know whether you work in the lab or
It does not matter.
we ni daktari.
Yes.
So I got a bit closer to my dream, I would say.
What was your what type of doctor were you thinking you could be?
I don't know. You see, like
Ama ulikuwa taka tu kuwa daktari?
when you're like below class 4,
Yes.
you've not even thought that far.
Yeah.
Unasemanga tu nataka kuwa daktari.
Bwana mimi nilikuwa nataka kuwa
Bado hujapatana na hesabu juu hesabu ilinitupa nje.
Yes.
Hey.
For real?
If maths was supposed to define how my life was going to turn out.
Yes. Tulikuwa tunatell some not good stories, eh?
Sijui, lakini God angekuwa tu amecreate another alternative, I believe.
I read this book, Gifted Hands, Ben Carson. I think it was around 6-7 thereabout. And I think almost every kid out there who read that book fell in love with being a neurosurgeon. So I was like, I started walking around saying, I'm going to be a neurosurgeon at some point. Yeah.
Same.
When I got to high school, I think I started readjusting my sails very quickly.
I think at some point I nishaiandika mahali, now that you've mentioned Ben Carson.
Yeah.
I think ashaikuwa like a role model hizo miaka za kitambo.
You're right.
But anyway, yeah, I did say neurosurgeon, but I never maybe thought of neurosurgeon, maybe surgeon.
Yeah.
I've had some surgery, so as a child, my dream was like, I want to be a doctor so I can help other children like me, kind of thing, before reality hit now of you don't just become a doctor.
Of how studious you have to be.
And there's a process. But now that I'm what I am, really, I don't regret, and I don't see what else I could have done except what I'm doing.
All right.
So I think I'm in the right place.
All right.
Yeah.
Someone I love so much, not really love per se, I follow a lot. I don't know if you know them. Says he's a practicing clinical psychologist. You know, Jordan B. Peterson.
Maybe I've heard of him.
Yeah. So by virtue of himself calling himself a clinical psychologist, is there like a difference?
There's a difference.
Between a clinical psychologist and a counselor.
It's a big field. Yeah. So basically what psychology is, it's the science of human mind and behavior.
All right.
But now that applies on so many levels. There's industrial psychology, there's clinical psychology, there's counseling psychology, yes, there's educational psychology, there's sports psychology. There's so many kinds of psychology, behavioral psychology, like it can branch into so many others.
All right.
So clinical psychology, you do it mostly you do it on master's level. So you've done psychology, either counseling psychology or just psychology on your in your undergraduate.
Yes.
You go now and specialize, and one of the things you can specialize in your master's would be clinical psychology.
Right.
In fact, I think at some point I thought that is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Especially because immediately after school I found myself in the clinical setup.
All right.
But I don't think that's what I want to do for my master's anymore.
Yeah.
But we'll figure that out when we get there.
All right. All right. So May, when you are reaching out to us, you said May is mental health awareness month, right?
Yeah.
I nilisikia na wewe.
For real?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen any organization. I've not seen any social media post. I've not seen anything out there.
Oh, we are failing,
indicating that it's mental awareness, anything. So do you think the society is appreciating the mental awareness campaign? as it is? Or
I'm like, you don't know. Either
No.
you don't know, ama it's just we are not either doing a good job.
But I
think it's the society in general.
Yes.
But if I'm being fair, when I first went to uni,
Yeah.
and I was even almost done with school, I didn't think this is something I could actually practice.
Okay.
Kwanza vile nilikuja Bungoma the first time,
Yeah.
I
When was
went
that?
around, say 2022.
All right.
I was here in 2021, went, then I came back officially now up to date. It's been since 2022.
All right.
And when I was marketing now the services, I was working with someone at the time. Nitaenda niongee na watu, and then someone is going to be like, unataka nikulipe kukuambia siri zangu na kulipa nikupe moshene yangu, wewe ndio unafaa kuwa unanilipa at this point. See, mimi, they think I'm benefiting from because you see people share very intimate details of their lives.
Yes.
And if mtu anakuja anajitolea kuambia siri zake, sini kama anakupea udaku according to them.
Yes.
So really I think there's a problem, and actually that's why I reached out, because I don't think I've done anything I've not done any outreach this particular month.
Yes.
And I love to call myself a mental health advocate. That's why I'm feeling very disappointed that hata haujui that May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes.
Yes, it is, but pia society bado haija embrace. Haija embrace. Tuko kwa ile society yenye suck it up, move on. Kuna wenye, in fact, watu kuadvise aje, watu kuambia sasa unalia na kuna mwenye anapitia worse kukushinda,
Yes. Yes.
And they downplay your experiences, and so there's that shame, there's that stigma.
Yeah.
But in order to break the shame and the stigma, we have to create awareness. That's why I'm disappointed that you're not even aware. That
And in the same breath as how inakwanga customer service week, you know how just 1 week, I don't know,
hata juzi imekuwa sijui nurses week or something like
week,
that.
You know how it's usually like you cannot miss a campaign like that, and you'd imagine how focal the mind is in operations of anything. You'd imagine that it will be accorded.
But how many psychologists do you know, apart from me now today?
The one I know mostly is just Jordan B. Peterson.
The one that's in even that one has not done anything about creating awareness.
No, I don't think I saw him post anything about the month. That there is something about that. No, I have not seen that. And I follow him really closely.
It could just also be like the spaces that you're in, or if maybe it's been like an interest of yours, because you realize with social media, the algorithm, what you're most interested in is what is usually like, that is what they recommend for you in most. Maybe after today, maybe after interacting with me, utaanza kuionaona.
Fair enough, but I think when I was even digging, like we're talking about this, maybe Googling a little bit on psychology, getting to understand this or that, I would have expected maybe at even that the algo will now shift in my direction, but still nothing. I don't think.
We have several, we have different months. One is create awareness. There's one specifically for suicide. There's 1 month specifically dedicated to creating awareness for men's mental health. Yeah, we have different months.
Actually, you're actually prompting the next question, which was something along June. I saw somewhere on the interwebs that June. June is men's. Actually, on your socials, by the way, I think so. That June is men's mental health Awareness Month. And I was just like here wondering, community, society does not even appreciate the one day in June that gentlemen are supposed to be like Father's Day. It's not just men in general, Father's Day. So now are we going to dedicate an entire month where we worry about what's going through the man's or the gentleman's
That's
head?
Why such months are set aside.
Yes.
Because it's not always been there since time immemorial.
Yes.
It's the fact that we've gotten to a point where we've realized, kumekuwa kubaya when it comes to men's mental health. you
Yes.
know, the awareness around it, the attitude surrounding it kind of
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
And so now to make it louder, that's
Yes.
where there's like a whole month. It might not be as loud as we want it to be yet,
Yes.
but I'm just
Taking
hoping
momentum.
with time and of
Yes.
course with such spaces and being open to even having such conversations,
Yes.
will get us there. Because like right now,
Yeah.
in this room, I'm seated with 3 men.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that apart from recording and business as usual, they're also listening.
Yes.
They have other men in their life and things
Yeah.
like that. And that's how awareness is created. Mi
Yes.
nakufunza, unafunza mwenzako. So we are not yet there. We're
Yes.
not even close. It's really, really sad, by the way,
Yes.
when it comes to especially men. You know? Sisi pia, in fact, more women fall into depression or some mental health issues than
Yes.
men.
Yes.
But men are affected more. Because
Yes.
mimi, kama sahi before nifike hapa, nimepitia kwa rafiki yangu, nimekunywa juice, nishamwambia vitu kaa 5 zenye zimeni frustrate in a span of 30 minutes because I didn't have time. If I had more time, ingekuwa more.
Ingekuwa
And
100.
that, in a sense, is
Yes.
like me debriefing, I'm
Yes.
packing,
Yes.
I'm lighter. Kama nilikuwa na feel vibaya, labda amenichocha, ameni-encourage or ameni-advise, something like that.
Yes.
Meanwhile, that's why I was asking, does your brain look the way your computer looks? Does it have as many tabs open? Most likely it is, because you're carrying this podcast, you're carrying your business. If you have businesses, we thank the Lord. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Pole. And you're maybe carrying your family. If you have a family, you
I
know.
almost said families, but sorry. Go on.
Oh,
No.
I don't want to assume, by the way.
I was just going with that joke, but,
pale niko
yeah.
inakwanga safe space. Ukaange
Yes.
mkijua hivyo.
Yes,
Mtu
yes.
akianza hata kusikia kulia sahi.
Yeah.
I'm ready for you.
Wipes ziko karibu.
Yes.
Hata kani mimi mwenyewe nitakuitisha usijali.
Yes. So
Yeah.
it's sad that you don't get that kind of space. You
Yes.
can't just come here and tell your colleagues that, hey, by the way, mi siko sawa,
Kimeniramba huko nje.
kinaniramba na
Yes.
niko pabaya and I need support, or like I need this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
In fact, and I tell this story all the time because it's so significant.
Yeah.
There's one time where a friend of mine lost a dad,
Yes.
a guy. The dad died.
Yeah.
And the friends want to be there, like
Yes.
wanataka kumsupport. But you know
Yes.
the kind of support they were willing to offer. And that is what has been normalized.
Let me guess, booze.
Yes. Let me
So
tell you, they were so
dude,
dedicated, waliandika timetable ya nani atakuwa nambaia pombe since ile time babake amekufa mpaka ile time atazikwa and some extra days after,
Just to numb it
so that
all.
this guy is always numbing the pain.
Yes, yes.
Or to them it's not numbing, you know, it's numbing
Yes,
pain.
yes.
To them they think that's
That's
coping
dealing of
with that
sorts.
stress.
Yes,
Because
yes.
hiyo ndo kitu imekuwa normalized
Yes,
for like
yes.
the longest time.
Totally, yes.
So it's really sad that we are where we are, but we need to ndo hata ifike pali penye they normalized maybe talking about things like HIV or those things that come with shame and stigma.
Yes.
People had to be courageous enough.
Yes.
And despite what has been normalized by society, just the willingness to rise above that and, you know,
Yes.
keep doing it. Waambie hata kama hawakusikizi. Any opportunity, hadi mtu wa boda nikipatana naye anzi story zake. Na hizi stress zinanipeleka na kuanga like perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Kidogo hata kama ni 5 minutes ushamwambia something ama hujamshame ako like, hey, na madam unakwanga tu hivi umerelax unasikiza tu mtu, you know, and you don't know what that might have done
impact.
to that kind
Yes.
of person.
Yes.
So yeah, it's really sad. It's really
Right.
sad.
I was intrigued by one of your videos on your page, the official one. There's a video you did, a video where you're doing myth versus fact. Yes.
Yeah.
And one, I think two, but I'll start with the one that struck me the most. I loved how you juxtaposed how people tell you, how you juxtapose that mental conditions how people keep saying that mental conditions are like you can just like deal with it,
You can just snap out of it.
You can just like, I don't know, you said something, and you were like, the comparison you made was, if you had a broken leg, would you just like walk it off? And you will seek medical attention, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I really loved that juxtaposition a lot. It creates like a physical comparison to how of this ailment. Now, unfortunately, now the mental conditions are not physical. They're not sticking out like a sore thumb. So what else?
End up
being
physical at some point.
Yes. So before we get there, what are some of the? I guess the question I was premising was, what are some of the things you can be able to like? Ni dalili gani zenye ukiangalia you'll be like, okay, I think we have a situation, or we're going to have a situation. What are some of the things you need to look out for?
The easiest way maybe I can talk about this is just give the 5 things that are affected either positively or negatively.
Yeah, right.
When they're okay, it means your mental health is intact. You're mentally healthy, you know? And if they are not, then it means there are some issues with your mental health.
All right.
And those issues, they're not necessarily illnesses, because like stress is a mental health issue, but it's not necessarily an illness. But those issues could easily turn into illnesses.
Yes.
But 5 things are very, very significant. Your thoughts, your feelings, your behavior, your perception, and your relationships with other people.
All right.
So those symptoms fall under those categories.
Okay.
So the kind of thoughts that you're having most likely are going to be negative thoughts. You find yourself, thinking about hopeless things, or you're feeling hopeless.
So is there like a physical manifestation of any of these? Until I jump off Sawan Hotel or something, like, or any other building?
Yes, because like when I talk about behaviors, and if you're and that's why self-awareness is very, very important in every person's life, no matter what age you are, is because actually self-awareness is about those 5 things.
Yes.
Do you have an understanding of how those things are affecting you, how you're showing up, how the quality of your life, because you'll start to notice there are differences in maybe like your appetite might change.
Oh, so this is me. I guess maybe I was asking in the sense that
other people.
Yes, like now you or my friend here who I am relating with, but he is bottling up things. You see, as you've mentioned very well, that gentlemen don't really share easily, but they are withdrawing. Okay. They are going through a phase, but they are masking it. But is there something I can hold on to be able to tell that my friend is actually
I think
on
let's
a bender
start with
here?
you, because even just knowing.
Let me pick it out from me first.
Because tunaishi kwa society yenye every man for themselves, and it's so crazy, and it's so unfortunate, true. But like your appetite might change, your sleep pattern, your motivation, like the way you're not excited, then you become socially withdrawn. Things that would initially or like previously intrigue you no longer do. Like kuna game ya Arsenali, mimi ni mtu napenda Arsenali, but I don't even care, maybe someone is a Man U.
Were you about to say Man useless?
Yes. I can't help it. I'm sorry. Please stick with me. This is the point. Don't fight the messenger.
All right.
So like such same mtu wa Man U, there's been like an interesting game yenye wametupigia kelele about, and you're very interested and you love the game and you're invested, but you can clearly see hata ujifeel hutaki kwenda na wengine, kila mtu anakuuliza na leo unatokea and it's it's been going for a while, a week, now it's 2 weeks, sisi wote uko na hizo moments and maybe you're feeling sad, you're feeling moody, but now we also look at like how long has this thing been going on for. Then we have changes in behavior. unapata mtu anaweza kuwa very irritable.
Yes.
You know, they almost always are angry, ready to fight. Nimeshazoea kupiga banta na wewe. I know I can joke with you, but suddenly those two jokes are getting under your skin. You know,
very brittle, huh?
Yes. So even those are things that maybe you can say in your friend. You can say in yourself and in your friend, and then there's anger, like angry outbursts from nowhere.
Yeah.
Unapata yani pia venye unakaa. Tukiingia kwa ofisi yangu, the very first thing I write is, you know, one of the first things I will write kwa notes zangu ni physical appearance, even before we speak. Because mtu mwenye uko sawa, I'm able to clean up, I'm able to know, by then naenda kwa podcast na nani, I need to at least look presentable.
Yes.
But when people start to struggle with their mental health, they don't even care. Mtu amevaa viatu ziko na matope.
Yeah.
It's the list of their worries, you know. Akona like a million tabs open, and that's like the 800 and do what, you know. So, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to attack you. Or anyone in the room for that matter. But those things, and sometimes sisi ujilenga because you know.
Yeah.
When you wake up and you know you're not okay, you know.
Yes.
You know, today I don't feel my best.
Yes.
The way I spoke to that client, siongeangi hivo, venye nilijibu, venye niko very impatient.
Yes.
Then you don't feel as hopeful anymore, even when people are talking about this investment.
Yeah.
Then the last symptom, the really last symptom of most of these illnesses or these issues is suicidal thoughts or like suicidal ideations.
Okay.
And even now, the suicide attempt or like suicide.
You start self-harming in ways.
Yeah. So how you tataka kujua rafiki yako is going through these things. If you really, really are close with this person, you know this person has not been showing up as themselves, the way they are thinking, the thought process. You know, they're not as creative, they're not as outgoing, they're not as motivated or like as productive as they used to be. Yeah, I would say those are like the common ones that cut across board. But of course, with each mental health issue or mental health illness, there are specific symptoms that go with that. Like depression has its own unique, and that's why we are going to be like, hey, this is depression and not bipolar.
Okay.
This is bipolar, not depression. This is ADHD. This is PTSD. This is naongea Greek.
Yes, a little bit, yes.
Kuna common mental illnesses like we have depression. That's common. It's like the
where you have depressive thoughts.
Yeah. So depression is sadness on steroids. Can I put it that way?
Yes, I think that
we all get sad.
Home,
yes. But with depression, it's different and it's persistent and it's there and it's accompanied with hopelessness. It's accompanied with loss of interest. It's accompanied with, lack of motivation and things like that. Then we have anxiety. Anxiety is fear on steroids. Let's put it that way.
So
it's kawaida sisi wote kuogopa from time to time, or to feel fear. If I'm walking in a dark alley, like I'm a dark road right now, na mimi ni msichana, naogopa.
Hata sisi tunaogopanga, tunajikazanga tu.
Ni mnakuanga na more privilege, but that's a topic for another day.
That's a whole other conversation.
So of course ndaogopa, but now with anxiety you find like you have one thought after another, one anxious thought after another, after another, after another, after another, even though if you were to dig deep, some of these things have no valid, it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make logical sense to be afraid of certain things, but you're afraid anyway, or you're scared anyway, And then we have ADHD. ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which many people have lived with without being diagnosed. But basically, it's why you find it hard to sustain, attention or to concentrate.
All right.
Then for like if it's maybe with children, there's that hyperactivity. Huyu mtoto ni ngumu contain. It's, you know, they speak out of their tongue. They seem unruly.
Yes.
Hawa ndio watoto utasema anakuanga na kerere, anakuanga na tabia mbaya.
Yeah.
Mtoto anakuanga jumpy, but
Yeah.
I'm not saying all jumpy kids have ADHD, but some of them go undiagnosed because we don't have this kind of awareness.
All right.
Then we have PTSD. Is post-traumatic stress disorder.
All right.
So when someone maybe is involved in like an accident, you know, our majeshi, when they, you know, they go to war, they see some very graphic things.
No matter in your life to personal life, if you encounter trauma.
Yes. Very. Now, being unable to overcome those thoughts and, you know, replaying those thoughts over and over and over and over and over and over again is, you know, that is what we can maybe call PTSD.
Yes.
But there's a lot of information with all of these things.
Yes.
Maybe let us enter into details of each of them. Which other common one we have? We have bipolar.
Yeah.
Bipolar is a mood disorder. So how I explain bipolar, bi means true.
Yes.
Then maybe from your geography knowledge, there's North Pole and South Pole.
Yes.
So one is high and then the
so
other one is
swinging
low.
Between...
Yeah, so you're swinging between highs and lows. The highs we call manic phase,
yes,
and the lows we call depressive phase. And that's why it's important to know these things, because unaweza kuwa na bipolar but maybe the whole time we're thinking it's depression, because even bipolar has a depressive phase or episode. Yeah, those are the common ones, but there are so many other. We have so many others. We have schizophrenia. Schizophrenia, sasa hiyo ndo kila mtu akisikia story ya mental health
anafikiria
schizophrenia, and that's why people like don't even want maybe to come look for help or seek help, because kwani mimi naenda kwa Tunu, naenda kwa psychologist, kwani mimi ni mwenda wazimu. So that what people call mwenda wazimu, which I think they are better. There's better language, because language plays such a huge
Schizophrenia
role.
Is directly translated to kuwa mwenda wazimu.
Well, it's true. I'm just saying. Now, the language that we use is very important, because many things are categorized inside that. You know, kwani mtu kisikia mental health, mental illness, anafikiria mental illness. Ule mwenda wazimu wa huko kwetu mwenye anaokotanga karatasi. Mimi mnanipeleka kuona psychiatrist, kuona psychologist, kwani mimi ni mwenda wazimu. And that's why many people don't look for help until it's too late.
It's too late,
Until mtu ameanza kujikata, ama attempt suicide, ama clear ame go into like addiction, which is another very, very common. I should not leave it out. Mental illness. Addiction is an illness. Yes. Alcohol use disorder, substance use disorder. Even ndo tunaziita. It's an illness.
All right.
But inakuanga an illness yenye is more like a symptom. Unaelewa? Ile yenye it is comorbid. Najaribu kututumia maneno ngumu, but it's comorbid with many other mental illnesses. Like nikipata depression, mimi nishaambiwa na society that the best way to cope ni niende nipige shots 2-3 ama mzinga, niende you know, ama niende nitumie whatever other drug watu wana prefer. My discourage watu kuitumia kama a way to cope, thinking that itaondoa stress zangu only momentarily, you know. And then now sinikona nimekunywa leo, nimekunywa kesho, na feelingi poa, hata sifikirizi vitu. Why was I drinking? Because I had because I have anxiety, because I have depression. But now on top of depression, we've ended up with like substance use disorder, or like now the alcoholism. But basically those are the common mental illnesses that are there.
Interesting. Really interesting. The first time I ever ran into that word schizophrenia was in some novel. I think probably it's a Dan Brown novel in high school. and he was one of the agents. I think alikuwa namdescribe kwa schizophrenic. Like I think alikuwa na jump between personalities, and I think he had like 4 or 5 personalities.
But that's a different
personalities or
that's
something.
a different mental illness, though.
Yeah. Like
we have personality disorders now.
The word was dissociative something. I don't remember the technical jargon that went with it. And in that moment it actually sounded cool or something. Like,
we have a book.
Like
we call it a Bible. Look, is this someone unaona zikikaka. Hizi ni vitu za ukweli until you meet mtu mwenye
mwenye anaweza, you know, like 1 minute it's the physical body, but the way they're talking to you, like, yo, okay, what the hell? What's happening here? It's like a whole other person altogether. So when I was reading about it, I was just like, I think that's the first time I interacted with psychology, and it piqued my attention. I just kind of wanted to know a little bit more about how our gears turn in our head.
It's interesting.
Yes.
And I think it should be like vitu kama psychology or just mental health. I feel our education system has failed us.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, because these are not things you should wait to hear. I should not know about trauma or depression or anxiety when I'm an adult. And I actually got to know about them as an adult in uni. Not everybody got to do psychology.
Yes.
It's very crazy that some of these things we are hearing for the first time right now. And yet ni vitu zenye tunaishi nazo on a day to day.
Yes.
Do you know?
For real, yes.
Tuko hapa, tuko watu wangapi? Tuko watu 4. Tuongeze mtu mmoja. Out of the 5 people, 1 of us has a mental illness in the entire world. Do you know that's crazy?
Yes, 1 out of every 5. I saw that stat on your socials, and I was like, okay. Yes,
so it's bad, but hopefully this kind of conversations
they
do
help
something.
to further the conversation. I saw in one of your myth versus fact videos, something else that caught my attention was that even our children are not spared either by mental health conditions. And I was just like, there was even a moment of exasperation in that, in reading that, and I was like, now you see, we are even struggling to pick these conditions in adults who should be expressive and say, hi, I am messed up, I feel like I need help. So if others are not speaking,
now imagine
that's
children.
How in children
don't even have the language for it.
My goodness. So how do you even pick out like this kid could be?
You just know your child, you know. And I'm not trying to be. I'm not a mother.
Okay.
Yet.
All right.
But I think I play a parental role.
Okay.
Yeah, for different reasons.
All right.
So sitaki mtu kwenja seme sasa anaongea kama nani.
All right.
Yeah. But as a professional and just in my work, I've realized we think the moment you have bought food, there's shelter, and you've taken your child to school, maybe you've even worked harder and taken them to a better school.
Yes.
You think that's everything.
Yes.
And sometimes we even go the extra mile of threatening them and guilt tripping them. Unajua ile pesa nakulipia shule. Na sijui unafanya nini, na hizo ni hasira zako, na nikituongekana huyu mtoto muongeleshe. I'm shouting. Punguza volume.
Shout.
Yeah, but it's important when you know better, you do better.
Yes,
so there's no
sure.
judgment. But it should be like a different approach. Yeah. Yes, kuna discipline na watoto wana grow, lazima muonyeshe this is right, this is wrong.
Yes.
But we've become so busy, and I understand the economy is bad, but we don't even know our children.
Okay.
We don't know our children.
No, we don't actually, yes.
A change happens in your child life, haujui.
Yes.
Kuna mtu uko nje mwenye anajua wewe haujui, and you see the worst thing about this generation is information is everywhere. So if we're not having this very important conversations with our children, they're going to find information just in the wrong places.
Yes.
Yeah. So mtoto amekuja, hujui mtoto amebadilika.
Yeah.
Ujui, sometimes mtoto hata anaweza kaa na ameumizwa for like a week. The mom does not know.
Yes.
Yeah. And why doesn't the mom no, because naogopa kuambia mama yangu, nikimwambia atanichapa. Naogopa nikiambia baba yangu atanichapa. We've not created an atmosphere, where our children can actually come to us, or we can go to them and we can have those open conversations. And I'm not blaming anyone, because I think we're even doing better. We're a bit more intentional. This generation of ours, maybe millennials, kuendelea, we're a bit more intentional, because the parents we had, ni uchapwe hata ujambua sababu, wewe you will figure out mbona unachapwa.
Sure,
and we kind of normalize that's the right way to do things. Meanwhile, mtoto anasumbua hivi sana, ametry kuchoma shule, ametry sijui fanya nini, labda hata akona conduct disorder.
Conduct disorder.
Ama huyu mtoto amekuwa molested, amekuwa harassed sexually, something has happened to them, but you'll never know.
Because
I've interacted with parents who they came to know about those kind of things. Juu mtoto amefukuzwa shule. Na mtoto amefukuzwa shule labda akiwa form 3, form 4. Na hii kitu yenye anakuja find out about their child probably happened when the child was in class 3, class 2. But now there's no that atmosphere where someone touched me inappropriately as a child, and I know I can trust my mom and my dad to be there to hold me and to listen to me. And even if I don't come and tell them, they're able to be keen enough to notice the changes that are happening, either kwa behavior, kwa unaweza jua mtoto wangu anakuanga hii personality, yeye ucheza sana, yeye ufanya hivi, but they're not doing that as much anymore. So it's good to have that curiosity, but now sometimes sisi tunataka kutumia force, zile frustrations zetu tuko nazo, we've not done our work, we've not done our healing, and hurt people hurt other people. Sometimes even unintentionally, but it happens,
So what I hear you saying is that in children, while it's a bit difficult, but if you know your kid very well, if you're paying attention, you will notice even the slightest, some of the subtlest of changes in their behavior, and you should be able to address it or seek help on how to address it. All right.
And you see, kids are very honest.
Okay. Oh yes,
kids are very honest.
If you give them the attention, they will tell you.
If you give them the attention and the opportunity and the space to feel free enough to be honest, kids are honest.
So away from that a little bit, social media. Social media in its original intent was supposed to help us to increase our connectedness. The original intent of social media was to bridge the digital divide, distance and everything, bring people together. But from the reports we've been consuming online and from the interactions, even in person, you can tell that social media is really fueling the angst, the pressure we are feeling in society. So I don't know, are you able to teach our time lapsers, our community here on how to safely, interact with these platforms, and just they are important, but can we be able to just moderate and be able to know how to best balance it out? Is there a safe way even?
I think it's important to emphasize how social media is not it's not like a perfect reflection of reality.
All right. Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's kind of more of a reflection of what's ideal.
Oh yes.
And we are all working towards having an ideal life, whatever that looks like for you,
Yes.
So first of all, just by understanding that mimi Tunu wiki mzima nimekula ugali na maharagwe. Sometimes hata sijakuwa nimesacrifice wenye wako kwa nyumba kwanza wakule. But somehow, because I'm a beautiful girl, on Sunday someone called me on a date.
Yes. Yes.
Nikaenda akanipeleka ni hoteli gani mzuri Bungoma. Say we went to somewhere like Hunters or whatever is fancy.
Yes.
Mimi si nimeletewa hapo some really nice cocktail and some nice wings. Hey, nimeteseka wiki mzima.
Yes.
Niliwahi piga picha the whole week?
No.
Eyo marago yangu?
No.
But on Sunday, hivyo vile nimeenda kadate kazuri, nimeshapiga hata before tuanze kukula. In fact, I'm telling my date, koja kwanza. Kwanza ni
lazima tu capture hizi aesthetics.
Na sasa achana na aesthetics, unaongeza tena na ka filter. Ndio food sasa irembeka hata zaidi kushinda vile inakaa.
Ianze kuglow.
Yeah. And I post that video, that picture.
Yes.
Someone somewhere is thinking, wow, guy,
this girl is living the life.
Tulisoma na yeye class moja. Oh my God, mbona life yake inakaa different kushinda yangu?
Yes.
Yeah. So comparison is something that we can't run away from, but you have to ask yourself, is this comparison teaching me or torturing me?
All right.
Yeah. So you need to know at a filter. That's why I like the whole aspect of algorithm. Filter what kind of things you're exposing yourself to.
Okay.
If ukiona kuona post za Tunu, hata kama ni Sunday moja anaendanga out anapiga picha nzuri, inakupea pressure, mute me, block me.
Yes.
Whatever it is that you need to do for your peace of mind.
Yes.
If kuna Diana Bahati vile amepewa gift number 1, gift mpaka number 15.
Yes.
Wewe sasa hiyo boyfriend hata ajui birthday yako ni
December
ama January. You know?
Yes.
Meanwhile, Diana amepewa Brabus, sijui customize.
I knew you'll do it.
Pressure is bad for all of us.
I knew you'll do it.
But you see,
yes,
just doing social media cleansing, like how you can do some social media cleansing is take breaks, be very intentional. Say for example, unakuanga na off day moja, umechoka the whole week, alafu hiyo off day yenye peke yake uko nayo, ushinde tena scroll the whole day, ushinde ukiona lives za watu zenye they just keep torturing you.
There's even a word for it, the death scroll. The death scroll, right? Doom
scrolling.
Yes, doom scrolling.
Yes, you're just doom scrolling the whole day.
Yes.
Now you're not getting inspired. You know, there's there are certain people who on Instagram, I have to look at their statuses. I have to look at, what they're doing.
Yes.
And for some reason, they impact my life in a way.
Yes.
Either because I'm inspired by them or like whatever it is.
Yes.
But na see ati now me I'm perfect. Mimi kwanza I doom scroll saa ingine. I've realized it's an issue.
Yes.
But just being very, very intentional. Iyo siku uko off. Hata kama utakuwa kwa social media, usikuwe kwa social media the whole 8 hours in a day. Find things that can nini your life.
Engaging activities.
Be very intentional with the kind of content that you're consuming because you get to choose.
Yes.
That's the beauty of being an adult. There's free will.
Yes.
You get to choose, by the way, I'm going to unfollow this page because every time I look at this page inanipeanga pressure. It tortures me. It makes me feel how much I am missing out on, how much I don't have instead of inspiring me.
Truly, yes.
So, just be keen on what you consume.
All right, so a healthy balance.
And do those boundaries.
Set yourself boundaries. Man, self-boundaries are the worst, I guess, man. Because, there's no one policing you on them.
Yeah.
I think for me, the one thing I suffer most is like using my phone before going to bed. It's a discipline I have had to like really work so hard. Some muscle I'm still even working to bed. And I time and again I used to find myself seeing nitandika and okay, now it's time to really sleep because like I scrolled till I slept. But I'm actually now trying to like when it's like 10:30, Bryce time for bed. And I can't go beyond that. Even if it was a movie, I'll stop it right now. Adulting doesn't allow me to watch a movie beyond 10:30. I'll finish the next day. Series the same.
And the fact that thing is not, this is me actually. Ndo maana hata sauti imechange. This is me talking to myself more than anyone else.
Okay.
The fact that movie will still be there tomorrow.
I know, right?
And the fact that you can go to TikTok or Instagram and search for content from up to like 2020 and still find it. Should be reason enough to like give you the motivation to like take those breaks. Hata labda jembe once small. Anza pole pole jembe. Leo take a break ya 1 hour. Nikikuwa na 1 hour, I'm going to do something different.
Yes.
From just being on my phone. Why, by the way, uta realize how much time you actually have.
Yeah.
There's this time, but it was not intentional. Nilikuwa tu nimesahau simu mahali.
Yeah.
So I was forced to take a break.
You are forced to hang out.
I had a lot of time. I'm like, why? Na venye nashinanga nikisema niko busy.
Yes.
So I have this
You are
much
forced to
time.
hang out with yourself.
Yeah. And look at all those browsers that are open in your brain and all the tabs
Yes.
that are open. But yeah, it's important.
I'll catch strays because of this browser thing.
Actually,
Yeah.
I'm not. I keep forgetting we had that conversation. It's an analogy I use a lot.
Yeah, I know.
But the
And
fact that you
it's
feel
so
like
close
it's
to
a
home.
stray
It's so close to home, you have no
means
idea.
you gotta do something.
Yeah. Okay. We'll circle back to that. So I was just like I was thinking. So it's a wild thought, huh? Not really wild. Something that's just like gnawing on my mind. Huh?
Okay.
And how modern living has I think pushed the individual, individualism to the forefront. You know, like me, myself, and I, nini. And I was just like thinking, you know, back in the day when we would say something like a baby, ama mtoto ni wa jamii, ama it takes a village to raise a kid or something. And now juxtapose it with the current times, some of these contemporary times where you find even some people are raising kids on their own, like peke yako as a single parent, you know. So is that we've talked about social media as one of the contributing factors to one of the factors affecting mental health.
That's true.
And I'm actually just also throwing in, could it be that we've eroded the fabric of community where people used to come together to do things more together? Do you think, if you were to like weigh in, do you think that by pushing the individual, you know, like the agenda of the individual, mimi nataka, mimi na watoto wangu, mimi na kitu yangu, do you think that's something that is contributing to the pressures of the mind that people are facing?
Yeah, because ntasemaje, there's a friend of mine. I was in a burial last Saturday. I buried a friend of mine. May he rest in peace.
All right, sorry. Sorry about that.
So we're just talking with another friend, akaniambia imagine Tunu, neighbor wangu.
Yeah.
Mimi natoka job, napata ka tent kamekwa hapo. Nauliza nini na happen? Anasema ati huku kumekuwa na matanga. He didn't know.
No, right.
Ni next door neighbor.
All right.
Na ni matanga. So yes, it's bad. You know, I'm minding my business. You just mind your business. I've even seen this trend of normalize telling people sasa utadu. I am not a fan.
Yes.
If you can't help someone, I don't expect everybody to be a therapist and go around trying to help people solve their problems.
Yes.
But there's just a way you could hold someone's hand.
Yes.
Because
listen,
it sounds like a joke,
yes.
but there's this thing going around at when people tell you their problems, normalize asking them, sasa utadu, guy, lakini najua utawezana.
Yes.
Yeah. I think
sounds so Gen Z, that one.
I think it's really it's contributing in such a huge way, and it's so sad.
Yes.
That people don't that whole aspect of community, the fact that kwetu hakuna chumvi ama unga leo. I remember nikienda na bakuli. Juu metry kupika unga lakini nakaa uji. Kimbia, I almost spoke my language. Kimbia kwa mama nane.
Sema tu.
Kimbia.
Sema yote. Takusikia how you vocalize.
Tanyara udhiurehe mutu, you know?
Yeah. Nice.
Na naisema with so much confidence. Ashaanza hadi kupika ugali. Na najua nikiana na hiyo bakuli. Hata kama kwa kina Tash ni kazini yangu. Hakuna unga. Nitaenda kwa kina Ngash na nitapata.
Na utapata bado. There's nothing to eat.
But right now, hata chumvi na kiberiti nisahau kwa duka. Itabidi nijue venye Stone Age man aliwasha moto na vijiti ama sijui na which is so sad.
And
I think
yes.
now what we can do is you can't save the entire world.
Yes.
Yeah,
For sure, yes.
but the entire world is made of Tunu, it's made of Joel, it's
Yes.
made of all these gentlemen in this room.
Yes.
And then like hapa ninajua nikipatana na yeye kwa ngori,
Yeah.
hata kama we are not close, aizi acha mtu anifanyie kitu mbaya kama
Yes.
kwa hapo. That's community.
For sure, yes.
Yeah, then another person is willing to do that for him. You're willing to do that for someone else.
Yes, yes.
And in your own small community, you've normalized that, hey, by the way, nani amepotea sana. We need to reach out. Nani kuna vile tabia yake imebadilika sana. We need to find out what's happening.
Yes.
We need to normalize. You see the way we to surprise people for their birthdays.
Yes.
We need to normalize kuchangia mtu aende therapy.
Okay.
Tunu ulisema ati sessions ni pesa ngapi? Ni hivi, tunalipa 4 sessions.
For so and so.
Mimi ndalipa moja, huyu atalipa ingine, ama you know, and that's community.
Na Tunu naekelea moja.
Na mimi hata sinanga shida.
Yes.
Na mimi naekelea moja yangu.
Yes.
You know, especially because of the intention that I can see.
Yes.
Hapo hata discount inakuja vibaya
For
sana,
sure,
you
yes.
know. But we need to normalize such things. Instead of kununulia mtu pombe ati juu amepoteza mtu wao, sina anything against pombe mimi. But pombe ni pesa ngapi?
Yes.
Yeah. Ndio mlewe ya whole weekend ni pesa ngapi?
A lot of
na
money,
unajua Monday mtu atakuwa na hangover na the depression bado atakuwa nayo, na all these issues zenye ana deal nazo somehow are still going to be there.
Hell, they even be compound.
Itakuwa worse.
Yes, because alcohol probably pushed you to do some things.
With a worry and M-Pesa balance.
Goodness, don't even start.
On top of it.
Yes.
You know, because
Yes.
I mean, mzingas are not free.
They're very cheap, very expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
But now think of it as mi niko na kamia kangu miangu 2 hapa. Siwezi kusaidia in any other way. Niko na 200 na napigia mtu fulani, by the way, mi nani hayuko sawa. Na nimeongea na yeye and ako willing kwenda therapy, but hana namna. Ama ako willing kwenda hosi, hana namna.
Yeah.
Ama anataka this kind of help, hana namna. And that's how we can start the whole community thing. Yes, imepotea, and it's a big contributing factor to how things are right now.
Yeah.
But we're the same people who can build it back.
Yes.
Mimi kama miusema, if it wasn't for my friends, the kind of friends I have,
Yes.
I don't think I'd be here.
All right.
And I'm not even talking about family, friends.
Yes.
Yeah, just have it, hata kama it's 1 or 2 people who are who intentionally love you and are genuine. You know, hata kuwa na watu 3 tu wenye uko sure 100% sure these people don't want me to die. And lean into their on their support. And also don't be the person that you're always the one that's needing people to be there for you.
You also show up sometimes.
Show
for other
up,
people,
and
yes.
sometimes showing up is like through kindness.
Yes.
Imagine sometimes unaweza make someone's day by just complimenting how they look.
Yes.
Hata ujampea do.
Yes.
You know, sometimes community is you're scrolling through your WhatsApp and you find kuna watu sijui blood donation and you can donate, you go. Yeah, or like you just had a 50 bob in your M-Pesa, you send. That's community, and
You're fostering the sense of
tunafanyanga
community,
ikaini
yes.
kama it has to be this
Such a big gestures,
thing,
yes.
but it can just be small things, you know, from
That
time
enhance,
to time.
yes.
Yeah, that make all the difference, you know. Yeah.
Are you plugged in the red pill conversations surrounding psychology? You know how counseling and getting therapy. You know how they say, just work it out. You know, what gym. You know, some say just find your mates and drink it out or something. What do you have to say about those types of advice being? Because now it's all over the internet. If you follow, maybe if you've heard of Andrew Tate, I've heard you pretty social media savvy. You hear
I
all
don't
this
like
time.
that guy. Oh, am I allowed to say that?
Yeah,
Okay.
man. It's bonga ikutoke. Ponga.
He's misleading our men, my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
And our boys especially.
Yeah. So there is. I don't know what are your sentiments around those types of stances? You know, like the hard stance, like the.
You're hard until you're not.
All right.
That's all I'm gonna say
about that.
and it's sad that we have to allow ourselves to get into that situation for us to either talk about it or look for the right kind of help. I have nothing against building strength and resilience. It's very very important, because I mean, again, it's not everybody that has access to these things. So but there are other natural remedies that you can put in place. If you're not able to like access maybe therapy or go to a psychiatrist, apart from teaching people to suppress their emotions and suck it up. Movement is a good thing. Going to the gym, there's nothing going to the gym, but don't put it as I'm going to the gym juu mimi ni ule msee na siezi enda hizo ma counseling za ujinga, mi lazima nene niinue chuma, meanwhile umeharibu mgongo. Why? Because yes, this thing this thing is nice na it's a nice outlet. But addiction will happen on so many levels. You're like, haya, kumbe every time nina lift nini na feel poor, dopamine ni kama ina come nini. So some people overdo it. Ndo your back injury, ndo your mguu imeumia, ndo your, so you need other ways to be able to supplement. Your thing can be gym, but on top of gym, how are you grounding yourself? Do you even know what it means to ground yourself? How do you talk to yourself? What community and support do you have? Unajua kujiita mkutano. Do you know how to hold yourself accountable? Because part of healing, and many of my clients don't like this part, even I don't like this part when I go to therapy.
You also go to therapy?
Yeah, it's very important that I do. It's hata kama watu wengine ama the world is responsible 90% for your struggles or your suffering or the state of mind that you're in that is not the best. What is your 10%? What's your contribution? How do you contribute? How have you contributed to your own suffering, to the way things are, and what can you do different from what you're doing, kind of thing. So I think your question was my thoughts on such things. I think they're very toxic. And I think that kind of person is speaking from a point of privilege.
All right.
And I don't think it's genuine. I just think that toxicity sells a lot. And that's why it's so loud. But it's such things that have led to, I don't know whether you've watched there's this Netflix limited series called Adolescence.
I did.
You did?
Yes.
You see that guy you quoted? Responsible for such. I can't talk about things. Even when I'm rejected, you don't talk about it, you act.
So one triggering series.
What are the effects? Doi, watu wanachapana every day. People are killing each other. Mtu anaingia kwa nyumba, anachoma nyumba yake yenye amework so hard for, anachoma gari, anachoma bibi na watoto. No normal person in their right state of mind, Joel, will wake up and want to do that. But you suppress, kupile. It always finds a way.
Volcanic eruption will happen at some point.
It's going to be worse. So I would rather you sacrifice 5 minutes of being called a simp. 5 minutes of being called weak. Or several days, or however it's going to take. But in the long run, you're investing, you're breaking some negative generational patterns. You are creating a future for your children where they know I am safe enough to be able to express when I need help. I can ask for that help. I know how to identify support. I know how to identify community. But now, you see, children are like sponges. Akiona dadi anajikazanga na instead ya kudeal na vitu zake vizuri anakujanga na kelelesha mam, saa ingine anamslap na anafikiria hatusikii. They think that's what is normal, and you probably also saw it somewhere. So I don't think hizo narratives are healthy, and I think we need to unlearn them pole. If you must be loud, as you encouraging men, be loud, as you're lifting hizo chuma, but tell people the right thing. But most of what is being preached is just toxic masculinity.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Toxic masculinity. Yes.
All right. I hear you. So I'm putting a pin on that one. I'm putting a pin on that one.
Okay.
So this journey of yours as a counseling psychologist, at what point did you decide I want to become a counseling psychologist? Because I have a story of how I am where I am right now. Yes, I believe, but this is not my session. It's your session.
Yeah, but I'd also love to know that.
Yes. So.
Well, in high school,
Yes.
after I got my KCSE results,
All right.
so I went back. Mi ni mtoto wa jamii tu.
Where did you go to high school?
In Nairobi. Yes, a school now it's called St. Clair's Nembu Girls High School, but then it was just
St. Clair's
Nembu Girls. St. Clair's Nembu Girls High School.
Okay, yeah.
But now it's just, then it was just Nembu Girls.
No.
So I went to Nembu Girls High School. So after naikuwa mbali na kwetu, it was a boarding school, yes. Actually a nice school, but haikuwa mbali na kwetu.
All right.
So after I got my results, sina mtu ataniguide hapo, mi nimekuwa tu survive. I went back to my teachers. Sasa hiyo time COOPS imefungua the portal. And then when we saw the options, see, I was considering different options.
Yes.
Just who I was, I think.
What other options were you considering?
International relations, political science.
Fancy.
Anything I would have done was going to be centered around people and dealing with people. That one was for sure. I'm a social scientist, I would say.
Good.
So, nikaenda shule, and then it was almost like an obvious thing once I saw it.
Yes.
Because along my life's journey, hata nikiwa shule, primary, high school, I've always been the person mwenye akitunu unakuanga machua, anaweza kuambia siri zangu, and then I was like, maybe I was 2 years older than my classmates.
Okay.
So even just by virtue of age or whatever, just the way I was carrying myself, my own life's experiences, kapitia usinione hivi, the kind of it's all of it has come together to really like bring me to this point. But like at that particular point, venye tuliona mimi na teacher wangu akaniambia, si hata wewe unajua hii inakaa so obvious, yani you're already doing this, you might as well get paid for it. Because at some point in high school mimi nilikuwa sick bay captain.
Okay.
So watu wagonjwa wanakuja, hata mimi nilikuwa mgonjwa but anyway, watu wanakuja, and then when someone comes, they like want to come tell you something, hey, tunaenda sick bay, let me tell you this. And so naturally I'm just warm and compassionate. I just listen.
That's good.
Apparently according to them I was giving good and mature advice.
Even then.
Yeah. So nikaenda sasa nikafanya. Then I wasn't sure because of like the job market and what I've heard about psychology and opportunities for the same. And then I went to Kenyatta National Hospital for my practicum attachment. Yetu inaitwa practicum. And then that's when I decided this is what I'm going to do.
All right.
It was hard because, it's Kenyatta. So in Kenyatta, you get exposed to very intense cases. Hizo vitu zote za DSM unaweza encounter huko,
DSM is what?
Oh, sorry. DSM is like our Bible for mental health practitioners.
Okay.
It's what we used to make diagnoses.
Okay.
It's called Diagnostic Statistical Manual.
Okay.
Now tuko kwa 5th edition.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You keep updating it, huh?
Yeah, because things keep changing and people keep evolving.
Muongeza toxic masculinity hapo ndani.
Inafaa. Anyway, ni venye sasa vitu zingine zilikuwa considered mental illnesses kitambo. Sasa mental illnesses kuna majina zimebadilishwa so that we are a bit more sensitive.
Yes.
So that's why like the Psychiatric Association, American Psychiatric Association keeps changing. Ina keep updating as we are changing as human beings, times are changing, so it's good to pelekana na times vile zinaenda.
Yes.
What were we saying before that?
We just like trying to understand how
ndio
how
tufike
you
kwa DSM. So now in Kenyatta, you're exposed to many things. My very first client, I was with my field supervisor, and then we went and tukaenda kwa ward, and we saw someone, and she was around my age, and she had gone through this very, very terrible experience. And then I broke down, okay, not in front of the client, but I broke down, and I went, my supervisor noticed, na nikaenda. So after your breaking down is when I was like, what? This is my first client. This is what I'm going to have to be doing all the time. But with time, nika meet different people. Then it's so fulfilling. You're just randomly sitting, and maybe it's a terrible day, and then you just open your phone, you switch on your phone, and mtu amekuandikia, hey, my child smiled for the first time in 2 months. Hey, nani ameoga on their own volition. Just those small wins, which has taken so much for that person to get to that point. And to just be able to know that you are part of that is so empowering. Okay. So yeah. So
I was even going to ask you if any of this is because of a personal conviction or something from your past, like how maybe you see an injustice as a kid, you've exposed certain trauma, and then that's how you end up there. But I think somehow by the other question you've kind of answered. You've answered me with this.
I wish I had a therapist when I was a child. Now as an adult, I was like, how did I make it through childhood?
You've hinted that before, and I'm actually like really, I just want to, it's a low-hanging fruit, and I just want to pluck it, man.
How did I make it through, but...
how was your childhood? How was it?
It was a weird childhood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you able to speak about it? Like even a little bit in the shortest
like
time?
What would you want to know about my childhood? Because it's like 5 volumes worth of books.
Okay, no.
Just
not that.
Just up to age 12.
Not in that much raw detail.
You'd have to be more.
We'll have to get you on another session for
you'd
that.
You'd have to be more specific.
Yes. So, it's a question I like asking if you have any fond memories, any.
Okay.
Like the one you just gave us earlier about kwenda kutumwa unga kwa nani kwa kinatash na kinatash wasipokuwa nayo.
That's a fond memory.
Yes, so kinatash wasipokuwa nayo unaenda kwa kina kwingine huko the next cousins or something. Do you have like any fond memory from your childhood?
You'd make a good therapist. You're such a good listener.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, I had a bike.
All right.
Yes, nilinunuliwa an ex-UK bike by my aunt.
Yes.
A pink one.
Yes.
Mechorwa Barbie. I'll never forget.
Nice.
So, this is where this is going. Nilikuwa nakuwa picked on a lot.
Okay.
I don't know, different reasons. But now when I got that bike, I got to be the one to call the shots.
Iliongeza points, eh?
Mimi ndo naamua teams leo ni gani, nani yako kwa timu yangu. So mimi ninaita wale watu wote ni utero.
Yes.
I don't know if that's still a word that applies.
Us millennials can still use that one.
Wenye mini pro, mini mnoma.
Yes.
Si mimi, wenye ni wanoma, mapro wa game.
You call them in your team, yes.
Nakwambia, sikupe ride. Ama sasa kama uko na a sweet thing to share, utashare na mimi wa kwanza. Well, this does not make me look like a good person, but hiyo bike nayo nilimanipulate nayo watoto.
Let's just say you didn't know you were manipulating them. So
I didn't know, but it was working. That's a fond memory I have.
Yes.
And then just my childhood was, apart from like the deep trauma that it came with, I grew up in a homestead. I grew up in Dago. Kwetu ni Dagoretti. Mimi ni wale tunasemanga kwetu ni Nairobi, ushago kwetu ni Nairobi.
Interesting.
One of those.
Yes.
Anyway, so I grew up in Dago, but it's still ushago, like it's legit ushago. And so we have this setup here. I grew up in the same homestead.
Yes.
So my shosho's house is there. Then her sons also live there. And then now they have families. So my cousins are there. So every day nika get together.
Yes.
Of sorts.
Yes.
Then your many, we got to play. Then other cousins and other friends from outside our home would also come. It was really fun. Then my shosho was very generous. Alikuwa anapika food mob. Then anatuma my cousins, kila mtu ende kwa lete bakuli ama lete sahani. It was nice. Although me and my siblings had some beef with that.
Right.
Because us, we were living with our grandmother. Hii food yenye anagawia kila mtu ndio yenye peke yake sisi tutakula. Meanwhile, our thinking was nyinyi mtaenda kukula kwenu.
Yes.
So like my sister and brother, they were older, so sometimes wangesimama kwa mlango waseme leo mkuji kwetu, you know,
to create some deterrence.
Mkikuja sisi watu shibi na nyinyi mnaenda kula kwenu. So now looking back, it's an interesting memory.
Yes.
It's a fond memory. Yeah.
I am just really trying to hold myself not asking this question, but if you can answer it, sure, answer
it's okay.
it. Yeah. So you've kind of straight up said that something about your childhood was not like adding up properly. So which, if you can speak to it,
I lost my mom very early on.
Okay.
I think that just explains everything.
Yes, okay.
When a child,
sorry about that. How early?
It's okay, 8.
Oof,
I was just going to turn 8.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. You know, the other day I went for my friends, very close friends' son's birthday.
Yes.
And he was turning 8. Yes, I think Jay was turning 8. And Jay is just a small boy. Every time I go and I give him like a 20 bob behind, you know. Me, I'm that auntie.
Auntie, yes.
You know,
I
bring chocolate na najua mamake ataki.
Yes.
Nampea hivi nyuma and we are happy about it. And then juu ni mtoto atakuja tu asema, auntie, Tunu bought me chocolate. Juu ni mtoto tu.
Yes.
Ama mamake akienda ama akirudi ako so clingy. So I realized that, wow, this is like a very, very young child.
Yes.
Yeah, and so
you saw yourself.
I had to grow up. Like
yes.
me, I was 8, but I'm like 12.
Yeah.
You know, because I have a younger brother who I also like had to help take care of. I also have 2 older siblings, but yeah. So you grow bila a mom, it changes. It just changes things for you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that is why ilileta some, because now you've been left out wengine pia they're trying to survive but you're expecting as a child to be taken care of. Some of these people are not as willing or maybe able to be there for you in that sense, but nearly grow. And even though there were some traumas or some difficult experiences, I would also say my life is like a whole miracle because of like how I was able to grow, how I made it through school, the fact that there were so many people. Life like took away my mom, but nikona ukiingia kwa simu yangu utafute jina mom, nikona like 8 people. Yeah. It's mom someone,
the community just decided to step up,
mom someone, and most of those people who are saved under mom are not even family. It's just juni mwalimu wa Sunday school, mwingine sijui ni mwalimu wa wapi, ama mwingine tu is just a neighbor who is, you know, interested and wants to see you win kind of thing. So somehow the universe, or let's say God, only find a way to fill that space.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So Tunu Speaks Tunu.speaks.wellness, right?
Yeah.
I must speak, right?
Tunu Speaks Wellness. Tunu Speaks, like Tunu Speaks Wellness.
Yes, yes. I'm mindful of the characters. So that is the name of your practice. Yeah. So you're not practicing in any of the facilities around, like at probably like our general where probably people who probably need you could find you there or something?
No.
So you have your own practice and it has like a physical location? Or you just do online?
Okay. Well, I'm just transitioning. I'm because
earlier you mentioned that
it's been less than a year since I quit employment.
Okay.
Yes. So
Is there a story there?
Where Bungoma is a small town, and we don't have time.
Yes.
But I think it was just time. You just get to a point where you're like, it's time to grow.
Yes.
And employment is hard.
Yes.
And
has its pressures. Huh?
If it gets to a point where I was no longer finding the fulfillment that I get with my job.
Okay.
My job is the kind of job, yes, I want to be paid, but it's the kind of job hata nikihave kufanya for free huwa iniumi.
Okay.
That's how much I love it. You get.
Yeah.
But I'd gotten to a point where I wasn't feeling it. I would cry like 5 minutes before my session. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be the one who is giving people hope. Meanwhile, me na feel livy. So I had to do the hard thing. Plus just some pressures to the job as ikosangi, you know. Yeah, so I decided that it was time to maybe build my own brand, which is what I am doing slowly. Tunu Speaks Wellness.
Yes.
Most of my work is online. But at the moment I work with another organization as well. It's based in Busia.
Okay.
Yes, I work with that organization. Then I have my own clients, and most of my work is virtual.
Okay.
So I have clients in Nairobi, I have clients in diaspora,
interesting,
UK and US, and but ni Kenyans wenye wako huko.
Okay.
And then here in Bungoma, if someone wants to see me and they prefer a physical session, you can find me at Hibo Plaza, first floor.
Okay.
Where there's the Amare Dental. Yeah, it's called Amare Eye Care.
I think I know the
and
place,
Dental Clinic. Yes. So the person, the owner there is my friend. So I'm using one of his spaces at the moment, but with time too, nitakuwa na my own office somewhere very conducive. It's a work in progress, I would say. Yeah.
Hopefully it opens up. So
it is.
Sorry.
When I came to Bungoma, the first time I would stay up to a week without a client. Yeah, but now it's sikubaya.
Good.
Siwezi complain.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, although sasa clientele wangu wengi wako Bungoma, which is what I want to now rectify.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully this platform opens you up to more people.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but even if it doesn't, I hope it my main goal really for coming was to just create that awareness and for people to know that there are places you can go. There are people who can hold your hand. There are people who alienda tu shule kusoma kukuja kusikiza shida zako. So hakuna vile shida zako zitambo. Na kama hawezani nazo, we have referral systems.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is one more question I will not forgive myself if I don't ask. This is what I have to ask.
Yes.
I'll premise it as much as I can.
Yes.
So that it comes with delicateness.
Oh, wow. Where are we going? Let me relax.
Relax. So while I was just like prepping for this conversation, I noticed that the items that you major in, you rather specialize in psychological counseling, child and adolescent counseling, GBV recovery counseling, couples and marital counseling, mental wellness training for individuals and institutions. Kuna yote nimeacha? Good. So now, you're sharp. You're a sharp tool.
I'm very sharp.
Yes, I can see you already are where I'm heading with this. So I'll start with the first part A of the question. 2 marks. Are you yourself married?
No, I'm not married.
Okay.
I'm not married yet.
Okay.
Should I add that?
Yeah,
I'm not married yet.
All right.
Ni kungumu.
Soko imechafuka. Good. So now this next bit of the question would be like, most of the advice, most of the counsel stems from insight.
Yeah.
And one would argue, you can correct me if I'm wrong, one would argue that you'd probably dispense insightful counseling if probably you like to, now I'm speaking to this point of couples and marital counseling. So supposing you're counseling me and my partner who are having difficulties.
I give evidence-based recommendations.
Words out of my mouth. Utatoa testimonies zingine ama rather tools zako zitakuwa ziko insightful. So do you find that as a hurdle of any kind in your practice, like the lack of probably like understanding of where they are coming from? I ask this question because hata nimeandika hapa ndo nisisahau. We had a guest on, I think, episode 3 or 4, and she lost her I think it's a mutual friend because I've seen her in your picture somewhere.
I asked her for your number, actually.
Okay, good. Very good. So, So, like, see, when we were having our moment here, when she was on the pod at that time, one of the things she said I found it quite interesting was that if I walked into any of the, let's say, in any psychiatrist's offices, and I ask, the first question I would ask, do you have a baby yourself? Have you ever lost a baby yourself? And they say, no, should walk out. So I would imagine if we were to like translate that.
I think that's a thing, and it's unfair.
Okay.
In this sense.
Yes.
Imagine telling a doctor that they can't treat your cancer because they've never had cancer themselves.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
All right.
Because I've been trained. I'm not giving advice based on my marriage. There are people whose marriage may break and everything. May go through divorce.
Yeah.
One thing people need to understand is I am a human being first.
Yes.
And then now I am a counselor, a therapist.
That's a good answer. I like it.
You know, so I get it. I would feel maybe more comfortable hearing marital advice from someone who has a successful marriage. Yeah. But then again, I think it's unfair because I'm not telling you what I do in my marriage.
Yes.
I'm not even supposed to talk about myself much.
Yes.
There's what we call self-disclosure, but inakwanga na rules zake.
Yes.
Because it's not even supposed to be about me. It's supposed to be about you. You as my client, you're not even meant to know about my personal life.
Yes.
But now I've been trained to be able to teach you things that venye nimesema evidence-based, based on science, you know, based on research, based on books I've read, what I've been taught. This is how marriage works.
There's a scientific process
These are the
guidance,
common issues in marriage. Because you can't say I have to have, say for example, lost someone for me to be able to guide someone through grief.
Yeah. It's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yes.
So ni kama kuniambia ukienda pale Hopkins Hospital. Yeah, Hopkins Hospital. Niende hapo nipate daktari. You know? Nimwambie, there's a friend of mine there. Her name is Sally. She's a very amazing nurse. Nimwambie Sally, wewe uko na malaria sahi? Hauna? Basi mimi nimeenda Zion. Kauna malaria huwezi jua venye mtu akiwa na malaria anasikianga. You know? Ama juu wewe mwenyewe una mtoto huwezi nizalisha mtoto na huyo mtu ameenda shule kusoma kufanya hizo vitu. So I think it's a bit unfair to expect that I have to have gone through something. Say, for example, I have to have gone through loss. I have to have gone through gender-based violence because I'm also helping people with such kind of recovery. I have to have had those experiences for me to be equipped enough to be able to help you. Okay. I don't think it works like that.
I think that answers it. I love the answer.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
What else did I want to know? Some more again. One more. One more of those questions. So I want to believe in your practice you have male clients, right? Yeah? I want to believe.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and you're a good-looking woman, you know. You're like, does that ever get in the way of business? Unajua tu wanaume watakuwa na upuzi.
Oh my God.
Yes.
It doesn't get in the way of business.
Yes.
In the way of business, and I'm not going to sit here and lie at I've not had people maybe hit on me,
yes,
or like express that kind of interest. But ukiheshimu kazi yako unajua do's and don'ts.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the things that is highly, highly disqualified in my field of work is something called dual relationship. Dual meaning two. Like mi ni therapist wako na mi bado ni demo wako. It can't work like that.
Yes.
I can't even give therapy to my own nephews and nieces and brother and siblings and anybody in my family. Yeah. In fact, I feel terrible that that's a rule, because like there's a friend who I lost, who I shouldn't have lost in the way they died, and kept reaching out, looking for such kind of help, and I couldn't help them in the capacity of a therapist. I could just hold this person as a friend and maybe now take them to another therapist.
Okay.
So hizo rules ziko hapo na ni clear.
Yeah.
So I can't have both.
Yes.
So how it does not get in the way is that I usually have explained this relationship, how it works. I have an intake form where it explains and outlines what is expected of you, what is expected of me, what my responsibilities as a therapist are, what your responsibilities as a client are,
yes,
what the boundaries are, confidentiality matters. Nikiona inazidi sasa, what I have to do is I have to end that therapeutic relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, because inaweza fanya
poteza license yako.
License uiende.
Okay.
Yeah.
And fair enough. Oof.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Good to know. Wanaume mjicontrol mkienda kwa therapist. Your form when you mesign, stick to that form. Yeah. So my being mindful of time. So just trying to bunch of more questions I had, but I hopefully will have you maybe next year time like this, as we keep pushing the mental awareness campaign.
Or in June.
To
talk about men.
Yeah, because I think Father's Day is just somewhere around 11th of June.
And I'm so sorry the society, maybe just apologize to the 3 men that are here. I'm so sorry, please, that the society and all the men that are watching, I'm so sorry that the society has made you believe that experiencing pain and experiencing your emotions and just being human is bad and is weak, because it's not. You can be confident and masculine and all of these things and still be vulnerable and open about your emotions and open about wacha wakuite kinya watakuita. But even your emotions matter. You matter, and you should be able to be in spaces that allow you to exist in a way that shows that you matter, even as a man.
I love that.
Yeah.
It sounds very empowering.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Wanaume,
pigeni asanti bwana. So anyway, as we close, I just want to know if you have what is your guiding philosophy in life? Just one. Don't even...
Kindness. I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah?
Kindness. I think if we were kind,
yes, just a little bit kinder, yes,
it would go such a long way.
I love it.
And kindness does not even have to cost you much. You just need to be a good person. Not a master to please anyone.
No.
If you can't help someone, at least don't hurt them.
Yes.
You don't need to save anyone. You might not even have the ability to do so.
Yes.
But at least don't hurt them.
Don't shout them down. Yes.
And kindness inakata across vitu mingi. Mtu uko naye, huyu boyfriend uko naye na girlfriend uko naye, na humtaki, achana tu na yeye.
Gracefully, yes.
Just allow this person go. Just allow them to move on. Accept that it's okay, it didn't work.
Yes.
Yeah. Kindness to kids. I don't understand why people are still doing the things that they're doing to kids. Yeah, kindness to people who are not seen and are not heard. Sa huyu chokora amekuuliza nini? Ka ujuumba hii kitu na naombaomba na wewe utaki kumpea, si umwache. Sasa Kofi umemgonga kwa nini?
Yeah.
You know, just
unnecessary,
just,
yes.
Yeah, be kind. Be kind
Right.
in your words, in your actions, in the way you carry yourself. And you know the secret to kindness is you can't be kind to others if you're not kind to yourself.
Yes.
Because you can't give what you don't have.
Yeah, you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Really,
yes.
yeah. So it has to start with you. You have to treat yourself like someone you love, like someone you care about, you know. And from the abundance of your heart, hizi vitu zinatoka.
Good. Lovely. I like that. What book are you currently reading?
I've not started my next read.
What have you been reading?
The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins.
Okay.
And I think everybody should. It's a very easy read.
The Let Them
Theory.
Okay.
It's a book that just guides you on how to, you know, improve your relationships, your day-to-day relationships, because you're not living alone. And it's basically just letting people be, or just letting go of the control that tunatakanga kukua nayo sana.
Yeah.
So it's the essence, whatever the book talks about, it talks about let them plus let me. After you've let people be and their actions and what they want to do or say to you, then let me is how do you react. And the book talks about the biggest form of control that you have is controlling yourself, like controlling your thoughts, controlling your feelings, and controlling your actions. But you can't control those things in other people.
No,
so
right.
it's just letting that need for control.
Okay.
And it's a really nice book. People should get onto it. Yeah.
I'll check it out, and hopefully when next time we meet I might compare notes. Huh?
All right.
All right. What are you thankful for? Short answers now, because I can see
answers.
time is critical now.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I
could go on, but you know you have the time constraint.
It's
yes.
okay. I am grateful for life.
Yes.
I know it's a very basic answer, but it's true.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm grateful that I had this space.
Yes.
This platform. So thank you so much
Karibu.
for creating such a platform that allows you to connect with people in such a deep way, and allows for such conversations to exist. So I'm grateful to be here today. I'm grateful for my work.
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm so grateful, because imagine being able to witness people's journey.
Yeah.
Like, people get to tell me things they've probably never told their moms or their spouses or anyone in their lives.
Yes.
And it's a privilege.
Yes, that's profound, yes.
Yeah, it's a privilege, so I'm grateful for that. And just grateful for being me. I think I'm an awesome person.
Well.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Any parting shots? Anything you can tell time lapsers out there, the community? Your camera is over there.
Okay.
Yes, I can put down my script
Your
now.
mental health matters as much as your physical health.
All right.
Yeah, like Joel was trying to say, imagine someone trying to talk you out of, imagine someone telling you to snap out of physical pain.
A sprained knee.
Yeah, a sprained knee or whatever. You're broken. Like, juzi nimekuwa na surgery ya mguu. Imagine what daktari angeniambia tu, don't think about it.
Go to the gym.
Just don't think about it. You know, don't just ignore it. So your mental health matters a lot.
Yes.
A lot of your success, a lot of your dreams, a lot of the ideal life that you want to have. Iko connected sana na the state of your mental health.
Yes.
So make it a priority. Be keen, whatever that means to you. You might not come to therapy, but how do you take care of yourself? Normalize taking deep breaths in between your day. Normalize taking walks. Just movement can go a long way in helping your mental health. Normalize talking to people around you. Normalize having support. Just normalize taking care of your mental health as much as you take care of your physical health, which I hope you do. Yeah, other than that, I am glad to be here, and I wish you all the best. And if you might need me or my services, you can find me in Bungoma, Hibo Plaza, first floor at Amare Dental and Eye Care Center. Or we could arrange for a virtual session where I see you through Google Meet or Zoom or even a phone call if that is what works for you.
We'll start.
And my number is 0714-298-453. 0714-298-453. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. We'll try insert these details in the video so that people can actually grab it. And you never know, out of our 300, 400 viewers currently,
there's maybe one person who this message
probably,
was meant for.
Yes, meant for, yes. And it could totally change their life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm grateful. Thank you. This was amazing. I didn't know how it was going to play out, but it was easy. So thank you.
Yeah. You know, we make it easy. Yeah. It's difficult conversations, but broken down to be as simple as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay. You're doing a good job. Asante sana.
Thank you. If there is anything else, lastly,
No.
Director, anything from your end? You're good? All right. That has been the time lapse, and every second counts. And we're really happy that you've spent some of yours with us. Yeah. It could have been, anywhere as we introduced, but hey, you hung out with us. And for that we say, asante sana.
Thank you.
Till next time, cheers.